Vanga feared these signs of the zodiac. There are signs of the zodiac that even Vanga was silent about. She said, "Their power is not of this world. They cannot be broken, deceived, or cursed. They see right through people, sense lies before a word is spoken, and stop darkness with a single glance." It was these people, born under special constellations, that the clairvoyant was afraid to touch in her prophecies, because she knew that their energy was not subject to any forces of fate. Today you will learn who these mysterious signs are, whose souls radiate power over the invisible. They are capable of changing the reality around them, repelling evil, attracting the incredible. And that is why Vanga said, "Where they appear, even the shadows tremble." Stay until the end, and you will understand why they have become the most dangerous to fate itself. Subscribe now so you don't miss out on new revelations, because what follows will turn your understanding of the signs of the zodiac upside down. The first sign is Gemini. Gemini is a sign that frightened even those who believed they could see the future. Their strength lies not in words or outward activity, but in their ability to turn thoughts into action, leaving no chance for those who try to understand them completely. Vanga believed that this sign hides a dual energy that is difficult to control, even for Gemini themselves. Their minds work at lightning speed, but there is a danger in this speed. They see not only the obvious, but also what others are unable to accept. This is what makes them unpredictable, and this unpredictability is the reason for the fear of them. Gemini have the ability to read emotions and catch the slightest changes in people's behavior. A short conversation is enough for them to understand the intentions of the interlocutor, recognize insincerity, and identify weaknesses. This creates the feeling that they can read minds. Their analytical mind is combined with incredible intuition, and when these two forces merge, they become dangerous to anyone who tries to deceive or manipulate them. They do not act emotionally. They act precisely, coldly, logically. And this is exactly what those who believed they had power over others feared. Their words are weapons. With a single sentence, they can destroy confidence, knock the ground from under someone's feet, and make even the most steadfast doubt themselves. But this power does not come from cruelty. It comes from a deep understanding of human nature. Gemini see all weaknesses and use them only when they have to. That is why they seem calm, even frivolous, but inside they are steel-willed. They do not need to raise their voices or show aggression. Their strength lies in their control over words and situations. No one can predict when Gemini will change direction. They may support someone today and oppose them tomorrow, but not because of inconsistency. They see developments before others do. Their brains work several steps ahead, and their logic is so deep that it seems as if they are guided by knowledge that is inaccessible to others. This is what causes anxiety. People feel transparent around them. Everything that someone wants to hide has long been revealed to Gemini. They are able to control several processes at once: conversation, analysis, strategy, observation. This creates a feeling of superhuman multitasking. And although they may seem easygoing and even chaotic on the outside, there is always structure in their actions. They don't need to plan. Everything happens naturally, like breathing. And that is why Gemini so often succeed where others lose their bearings. They never reveal their true intentions. Their smile may hide disappointment, and their indifference, deep concentration. They skillfully mask their emotions, but see through those of others. This duality is not a weakness, but a form of protection. It allows them to live in a world where sincerity is often punished, while remaining those who control processes from the shadows. They don't need to show strength to have it. It manifests itself in their ability to influence. Gemini are capable of carrying on a conversation that seems easy, but every word has a purpose. They can convince someone to change their mind without giving a single direct order. Their thinking style is quick, precise, and at the same time, subtle. They do not fight. They program the result. This is what frightened even those who considered themselves wise. Gemini have the ability to steer the thoughts of others in the right direction, and people do not even notice that this has happened. It is not magic. It is intelligence multiplied by intuition. Their minds know no bounds. They study, analyze, and verify. If something interests them, they will get to the bottom of it, even if it means taking the whole world apart, piece by piece. But there is a danger in this quest. They know more than they should. Their curiosity reveals truths that many prefer not to touch. That is why they were feared, because they are not afraid to look at what others try not to see. Gemini do not recognize authority figures if they are unable to justify their position. They do not submit to coercion, and this makes them unpredictable. People who try to pressure them quickly realize that they are losing control. They can be flexible, but this is not a weakness, but a strategy. Their ability to change is a way to stay one step ahead. And so even the wisest were wary of arguing with them. It is almost impossible to defeat someone who thinks faster. Their gaze is firm, their words are confident, and their silence is powerful. They do not need to prove their superiority because their presence alone changes the atmosphere. Gemini are people around whom any lie crumbles and any deception loses its power. And that is why those who understood the depth of their potential saw in them not just intelligence, but a threat to those who live a lie. The second sign is Cancer. Cancer is a sign that has a special power that defies ordinary logic. It cannot be understood by the mind because it lives not by calculations, but by feelings. This is what caused fear in Vanga, not because Cancer is capable of causing harm, but because it sees deeper than humans are allowed to. Its perception of the world goes beyond the obvious. It does not need proof to know when someone is lying, hypocritical, or hiding the truth. Cancer senses lies with its skin, its gaze, the silence between words. And if there is a person with insincere intentions next to it, it silently realizes this, and that is enough to shatter their inner peace. Cancer has an extraordinary memory, not only for events, but also for feelings. They remember not what was said, but how it was said, what energy the words carried. And this ability makes them dangerous to those who try to hide their true motives. They don't need to hear everything. They see the invisible. Their strength lies in observation. They do not react immediately, do not rush into an argument. But when the time comes, their actions and moments are precise, cold, and inevitable. That is why people often underestimate Cancer until they realize how fatal their intuition can be. Deep down, Cancer possesses what others would call emotional power. He is able to penetrate a person's consciousness not with words, but with his presence. His silence sometimes speaks louder than a scream. He can see weakness in those who pretend to be strong, and strength in those who seem vulnerable. This is why many people feel tense around him, as if he can see what you are trying to hide, even from yourself. And this is not mysticism, it is a natural gift, an absolute understanding of human conditions. Vanga once said that this sign sees not only what is, but also what will soon happen in a person's heart. And perhaps that is why she was wary of him. Cancer never acts impulsively, although he may seem emotional. Their decisions mature quietly, like a storm gathering strength. When they start to act, it means that the decision was made long ago, and it is impossible to change it. Their inner will is deep and silent, but extremely powerful. Cancer does not need loud demonstrations. Their confidence is manifested in small things, in their gaze, in the pause before answering. People often do not understand where this strength comes from, but it is not external. It flows from within, from depths that not everyone dares to look into. In any environment, Cancer always remains an observer. His mind is analytical, but at the same time emotionally accurate. He sees right through people, even if he does not talk about it. They can sense when someone is trying to take advantage of them and will not allow it. Their patience is not a weakness, but a strategy. They can remain silent for a long time, but when the time comes, they will act in a way that no one can predict. Cancer rarely takes revenge directly. They allow events to unfold so that everything becomes obvious by itself. And this frightens those who have encountered his inner strength even once. The greatest mystery of Cancer is that he never shows his true depth. Even those who have known him for years see only the surface, calm, balanced, sometimes withdrawn. But beneath this shell lies an ocean of energy that can both embrace and destroy. This sign does not forget, does not forgive easily, and does not allow itself to be manipulated. Everything it does is deliberate, even if it seems like improvisation. Its reaction is always precise, calibrated, like a surgical incision. There is another trait in Cancers that causes concern in those who do not understand them. They are able to calmly accept reality, even the most cruel. Where others panic, Cancer just holds its breath and waits for the moment. This makes it psychologically unshakable. In a crisis, they do not break down. They withdraw, gather strength, and when they emerge, they are different. Hardened, even calmer, even more confident. People often think they can defeat them with their emotions, but they do not understand that it is precisely in their emotions that Cancers are strongest. His fear is also a weapon. If he is afraid of something, he does not run away, but faces it head-on to overcome it. And every victory over himself makes him even more powerful. He does not display ostentatious heroism, but he has impeccable endurance. It is this endurance and steadfastness that create an aura of strength around Cancer that is difficult to explain. His energy is not explosive, but deep, like a quiet ocean that hides enormous power. Those who have tried to break him have always been wrong. Cancer is not one of those who can be subjugated. He can be offended, but not destroyed. He may retreat, but he will not give up. His inner world is a fortress that no one can access except those he himself lets in. And even then, he remains the master inside. It is this independence of spirit, this calmness, combined with the ability to feel, see, and remain silent, that inspires both respect and fear. Cancer does not need power to influence. He simply exists nearby, and that alone changes the atmosphere. His strength lies in his silence, his gaze, his steadfastness. People feel when Cancer is near them, not through words, but through a special depth that cannot be overlooked. And this is what makes him one of those before whom even the wisest bowed their heads. The third sign is Pisces. Pisces is a sign that has always left a feeling of elusiveness. They have no sharp corners, no sudden movements. but it is this softness and flexibility that has frightened even those who considered themselves perceptive. Vanga was wary of Pisces, not because of their strength or aggression, but because this sign has the ability to penetrate the human consciousness unnoticed, without pressure, without words, and leave an imprint there. A person may not understand when exactly they began to think differently, but this will already be the work of Pisces. They do not control actions, they control feelings. Their influence is not direct, but absolute. Pisces feel everything. They do not need to listen to explanation de ça. They already know what is behind the words. They perceive the world as if through clear water, where even the slightest movement causes a ripple. That is why they see what is hidden from others. A person may speak confidently with a smile, but Pisces hear the lie in the tone, see the fatigue in the eyes, recognize the fear in the pause. They do not analyze, they read. And this ability is so accurate that it makes others feel exposed. Even those who have nothing to hide feel uncomfortable around Pisces, as if their thoughts have become visible. Their strength lies in their complete lack of resistance. Pisces do not resist, they accept. But there is something incomprehensibly powerful in this acceptance. They do not argue, do not prove, do not pressure, and that is why they often get what they want. People disarm themselves around them. Hidden in this silence, calmness, and gentleness is power over emotions. Pisces are able to control moods like a conductor controls an orchestra, with a barely noticeable gesture, intonation, or touch. And no one can explain why, after talking to them, not only your opinion changes, but also your sense of reality. Their nature is dual, not in the sense that they are inconsistent, but in the sense that they live in two worlds at once. One is the world that everyone sees. The other is the one that exists only in feelings, in silence, in inner vision. And when they cross these worlds, things happen that are difficult to explain logically. It is this borderline consciousness that makes Pisces extremely deep, but also dangerous to those who try to deceive them. They do not seek revenge, they simply disappear, leaving a person alone with their own actions. And this effect can be stronger than any punishment. Pisces are masters of silence. They do not need loud words to convey their thoughts. They can remain silent, but their presence alone creates tension. They have a gaze that makes it impossible to hide anything. It is not aggressive, but penetrating to the smallest detail. Looking into their eyes, many feel as if they are being read, line by line. And this is not a fantasy. It is Pisces' natural ability to pick up on the deepest vibrations of the soul. Therefore, those who are not used to being sincere feel uncomfortable around them. They cannot be fooled by flattery. They can hear when words are heartless. And if someone tries to take advantage of their kindness, that person will inevitably encounter a wall that Pisces will erect without anger, without explanation. They will simply cease to be available. They know how to disappear physically, emotionally, and mentally. A person may not even notice the moment when they lost contact, but that contact will be broken forever. This is their strength. Pisces do not destroy, they dissolve. And after that, nothing returns to its former state. In work, communication, and love, they act in the same way, smoothly, quietly, but with absolute efficiency. Their decisions often seem random, but in fact they are guided by intuition. They don't need to count their steps. They just know where to go. And this knowledge is frightening because it has no visible source. They don't explain how they know. They just feel it. This is what creates an aura of mysterious power around them. They never show their superiority, but it is always felt. Pisces do not seek to control others, but they have a natural ability to manage situations. People themselves begin to act in a way that benefits Pisces without understanding why. This happens not through manipulation, but through a subtle adjustment of the energy of communication. They seem to create a wave that everyone around them subconsciously tunes into. And when that wave changes, the world adjusts to them. It is this kind of soft power that is the most frightening, because it cannot be seen, measured, or stopped. Their deep sensitivity is not a weakness, as some people think. It is the highest level of understanding. Pisces can sense a change in a person's mood in a second, detect danger before it manifests itself. They live on a level where emotions become language. This is what creates a field around them that influences others. In the presence of Pisces, everyone begins to behave more honestly, even if they don't want to. It's not magic, it's the truth they carry within themselves. To fear Pisces is to fear your own reflection in their eyes, because they show not who you want to appear to be, but who you really are. And this is their strongest weapon. They do not punish or expose, but everyone who meets them sees themselves without embellishment. That is why even prophets and those who are used to fearing no one looked at Pisces with respect and caution, because you cannot hide from them. They do not judge, but they know everything. The fourth sign is Leo. Leo is a sign that radiates such a powerful presence that even people who considered themselves powerful sometimes lowered their gaze in its presence. Vanga feared Leo, not because he could destroy, but because he could make anyone feel insignificant. His energy is not just charisma, it is a natural radiance of power, dignity, and unshakable confidence. Leo does not need to be recognized. He is already what others want to become. And this is what causes a deep, almost instinctive fear in people. Leo possesses a rare quality. He sees the world as an arena, but not for play, but for action. In every situation, he seeks not profit, but meaning. For him, it is important not just to win, but to make the victory meaningful. His mind is sharp, but focused not on petty calculations, but on the big picture. He thinks in terms of greatness, not only his own, but also that which he can awaken in others. And therein lies his danger. He who has power over people's hearts can both lift them up and destroy them. His confidence is not an act, but an inner truth. Leo does not demand recognition because he knows who he is. His calmness is not indifference, but control. When others are rushing about, he remains silent and observes. He knows that power lies not in speaking louder, but in choosing the right moment. His silence often carries more weight than hundreds of arguments. And it is this silence that makes people nervous, because it carries a hidden power, the power of someone who can influence without effort. Leo always radiates a sense of being the center of attention. Wherever he appears, he attracts attention. This is not the result of behavior or demonstration. It is a natural sphere of influence. People feel his inner confidence, and it either inspires or frightens them. Those who are weak in spirit are lost around him. Those who are strong either join him or try to challenge him. But it is impossible to beat Leo because he does not play. His life is a process of self-affirmation in which he does not compete but simply moves forward, leaving others behind. His gaze carries power, not a threat, not a condemnation, just the fact of his presence. People feel when he looks at them and often admit that his gaze seems to see right through them. Leo does not believe words, he reads energy. If someone tries to convince him using flattery or cunning, he sees it instantly. His intuition is based on a keen sense of insincerity. And although he may allow someone to play their role, deep down he has already decided who is in front of him, an ally or a threat. Leo never acts in a petty way. If he attacks, he does so decisively. If he defends, he does so to the end. There are no half measures with him. And even when he is silent, everyone understands that he has a plan. This sign is not about impulses. It is about scale and results. That is why those who tried to compete with him often found themselves defeated not by the force of the blow, but by the force of confidence with which he acted. Leo has no doubts, and this calmness can be more frightening than aggression. His main weapon is dignity. It is unshakable, even when everything around him is falling apart. He may lose money, status, allies, but not himself, and that makes him invincible. Those who do not sell their self will never be defeated. This is the essence of Leo. He belongs to no one. His inner world is a throne on which he sits not out of pride, but out of an innate awareness of his strength. People who try to break him quickly realize that they are dealing not with a person, but with a natural force, solid as a rock and hot as fire. Leo never uses force unnecessarily. His greatness lies not in pressure, but in self-control. He may wield enormous power, but he uses it with cold prudence. When he punishes, he does so not out of malice, but out of a sense of justice. And that is why his actions carry weight. He cannot be bribed, intimidated, or coerced. He listens, analyzes, evaluates, and if he decides to act, it is always final. His presence changes the atmosphere. Where chaos reigns, he creates order. Where there is fear, he awakens strength. People instinctively look to him for guidance, and even those who fear him cannot deny that everything becomes clearer when he is around. Vanga felt it, an energy that needs no permission, that bows to no one. Her own power of vision hit a wall. Leo did not allow anyone to look into the depths of his soul. His world is a kingdom to which only a few have access. His fears are the deepest, but hidden. He will never show weakness because he knows that the world does not forgive vulnerability in the strong. But it is these hidden fears that make him alive, real, and profound. Leo feels everything. He just doesn't show it. He experiences things silently, but inside him burns a fire that never goes out. And it is this fire that makes people both admire and fear him. Leo does not seek conflict, but if it comes, he does not run away. His path is not avoidance, but overcoming. He will never allow himself to be humiliated, and he will not forget those who try. But he does not take petty revenge. His response is always large-scale, with precision that leaves a lasting mark. His victories do not need witnesses. They are simply obvious. And even those who were once against him will eventually admit he always remained in his place, unbreakable, calm, and powerful. This is the main reason why even those who saw further than others were wary of Leo. He cannot be broken, cannot be deceived, cannot be subjugated. He does not demand respect. He commands it by the very fact of his existence. And so, when Leo looks you straight in the eye, you see not just a person, you see the embodiment of a force that cannot be feared. The fifth sign is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a sign that combines the fearlessness of a hunter with the cold mind of a strategist. He is not afraid of the unknown, and that is why he often frightens others. Vanga was wary of Sagittarians not because of their aggression, but because of their deep power of conviction, which is capable of changing the course of events. Sagittarius has a rare gift. He does not impose, he infects with ideas. People follow him not because they have to, but because they begin to believe. His faith is not an abstraction, but a concrete force that can lift, inspire, or destroy everything built on lies. There is a constant fire in this sign, not one that burns to demonstrate power, but one that does not go out even when surrounded by darkness. Sagittarius is not afraid of anything because he sees the goal even when all paths disappear. His inner compass is always tuned to the truth, and it is this straightforwardness that makes him dangerous to those who are accustomed to manipulation. He does not remain silent when he sees injustice. He speaks sharply, precisely, without embellishment. His words are not intended to hurt, but they cut through falsehood like a blade. When calm, Sagittarius seems open, simple, even friendly. But this is only on the surface. Deep down, he is a warrior and a thinker who sees more than he says. He observes carefully, listens, analyzes, and when everyone thinks he is not noticing the details, he is already putting together the big picture. His strategic thinking works at lightning speed. He understands the patterns of human behavior, senses weaknesses in any system, and can strike where no one expects it. This is what makes him a rival, feared even by those who are strong in body or power. Sagittarius never acts at random. His decisiveness seems spontaneous only to those who do not understand his logic. In fact, his every step makes sense. He can act quickly, but he always knows where his movement is leading him. And even if the path looks risky, he walks it without fear because he believes in his own goal. This confidence is not emotion, but knowledge. He simply knows that he will do what he has to do. And this calmness, multiplied by willpower, is precisely what causes anxiety in those who are not used to dealing with people who cannot be knocked off course. There is no pettiness in him. He does not waste energy on minor conflicts or pointless arguments. If he is silent, it is not indifference, it is concentration. If he speaks, it is in order to act. His words carry weight because they are backed by inner integrity. Sagittarius does not play roles or seek approval. He does not know how to flatter and does not consider it necessary. This directness is sometimes annoying, but it is precisely what makes him someone who is listened to even by those who disagree. His energy carries the magnetism of action. People around him begin to move, even if they were standing still before. His presence seems to activate the inner fire of others. But at the same time, it is frightening, because Sagittarius does not tolerate insincerity. He senses when someone around him is being insincere and reacts harshly. He may smile, but inside he has already made a decision, and then everything that seemed like friendship instantly becomes distance. He does not seek revenge. He simply closes the door forever. Vanga believed that Sagittarius is a sign that has no boundary between the spiritual and the material. His thoughts can become actions, and his beliefs can become reality. This is not fantasy, but a phenomenon of concentration. When he is focused on a goal, everything around him begins to shift to help him achieve it. His will is like a bow, and his idea is an arrow that never misses its target. That is why people around him feel that their lives are changing, even if they did not seek it. Sagittarius is a man of his word. If he promises something, he will do it. If he says no, it's final. His decisions are unwavering because he does not make them emotionally. For him, every word is a commitment, and this consistency commands respect even from his enemies. He is not afraid of responsibility because he knows he can withstand the pressure, and that is why they often find themselves at the center of events, even if they do not seek it. Their strength is not manifested in the desire to lead, but in the ability to be a guide. People simply feel that they can trust them. But despite all their strength, Sagittarians have something that frightens even the most courageous: their ability to destroy illusions. He cannot tolerate lies in others or in himself. If he sees falsehood, he cannot remain silent. And that is why it is difficult for those who are used to living behind masks to be around him. Sagittarius does not extract the truth. He simply voices it, and it hurts. His honesty is sharp as an arrow, but always fair. He does not seek to humiliate, only to show the essence. But it is this relentlessness that makes him dangerous to those who are not ready to look at themselves without embellishment. His inner strength has no external manifestations. It is felt at the level of presence. He has stability, calmness, and confidence that do not need confirmation. When he speaks, the air changes. Everything becomes clearer. His ideas do not fade away because they are born not from emotions, but from deep conviction. And if someone tries to convince him otherwise, they quickly realize that it is futile. Sagittarius can listen, but he will make the decision himself. It is this inner autonomy that has caused even the wisest to fear him. Sagittarius does not obey authority and does not accept rules simply because someone has established them. He listens only to the truth he feels himself. And if his path contradicts the general direction, he will go against everyone without hesitation. He cannot be stopped or broken, because those who are guided by internal law are not subject to any external force. And that is why even those who saw the future recognize that Sagittarius possesses a power that cannot be controlled.